textile integrated processing industries. The geners are where we really remove the cotton seeds, and those ones are just preparing the cotton. So they are 39, and then their capacities are 9,400 bales a year. And the bales, someone if is to ask, these are when I get a cloth, for example, if you have seen a seamstress or tailor, there is that it's like a cone on which they have made the threads go. So now this is, instead of the threads, it's of the cloth and all that. So and we are seeing that there are different gauges which are being made. We are seeing that there are those with women and those ran with driven by women's groups and all that. So there are those ones at the small scale, and those are the biggest players. So we are seeing that there are 23 textile processing industries. Those are really the big ones that are really doing much more of transformation and all that in East Africa. And an assessment, we found that there was a chemical which was being used, what was called Tabigat 90F, and it was based on a C6. That's a carbon, so an organic compound with six atoms of the carbon. And what was it being used? It was not used alone, but was a component of a substance being used for repellency of water and of oil. So we're seeing that its composition was about 22%, but it may seem so small, but remember, it will accumulate in the long run. It will affect the people who are in the production. All that. So even though it's that small, a better one that has nothing, and no portion of a pop would be the best. So that's why we took on this, and really Native was really receptive, and they really also applause them for their dedication towards the preservation of the climate and people and whom they are using, the people who are working at this plant. They really went on this, and they really aimed to really eliminate, to use a more viable, green, and eco-friendly substitute. And with its removal, about 5.28 tons of this Tabigat, which is a PFAS, was going to be removed. And we are seeing that with continuity, like all of it would eventually be, so the exposure would be, the hazard that would come out would be eliminated. In that, when I'm exposed to this cloth, I'm really working with an eco-friendly cloth or textile product that has been made. So really, another thing also, maybe to note, really to applaud these and support these industries who are trying to do something towards achieving this green development. So speaking about the environmental feasibility, because however much we are stating something, it may work, first of all, and then it may not, it should keep someone in business. Why would I bring an alternative that's way expensive, hard to maintain, hard to get? So with all this, that we should, UCPC and as the people who are executing this, we are trying as much as we can to look for these potential eco-friendly. We're also looking for the economically feasible and environmentally feasible. So in that, you should not use a substitute that's really expensive, that will not work for you, that will not give you the same products, the same quality of the product you're looking at. So for this illustration, we are seeing that EcoPal is cheaper. You're seeing it's almost going to 50%. So that one is that's a good note to start on. Like, I will not spend much more on this. So the economic side. So this alternative, which is the EcoPal, replacing the old repellent, water repellent, was economically viable. And the side of energy use, we're seeing that even the temperatures at which we are drying, they are a bit lower. That's 110 degrees Celsius compared to the 150, and also that time of 1.5 minutes. So this happens when we are trying to, it's the fixation stage whereby we are trying to make this repellent bond with with the
Even me
structure.
here, I'm seeing myself at the people up. You're not seeing anyone called Judy.
Oh. Kind, we are requesting Madam Judith to mute. Thank you. So we are saying that the amount, the energy it takes to do this entire process to be a lot compared, because whatever degree you are seeing here, that's energy that has to be put in form of steam. If we are using an electrical source, also that one will be energy. So we are trying to also to reduce the strain we are putting on the dams, on the generators and all that. So this in turn will really reduce our carbon footprint in all whatever we are doing. So really, this came about that Ecopal also is someone in business would accept this because they are seeing that they are saving, it's working for them. Now, yeah, you have given them these points of it's economically viable, it is environmentally friendly, but does it really deliver, as people these days say? Because I will not take on something that will not really yield, and it will tarnish the name I've made out there. So you should make sure that it really delivers. That's why you go to the technical side of things that these are the properties that it has. So one is using the omniphobic, one is using a hydrophobic the regime of liquid repellency. And the essence here is we are saying that both of them, it's delivering at par. For example, if you go to the next point where it's talking about the articles made of cellulose and it blends with the natural synthetics, both of them are doing the same. So that's a check. We are seeing that at that point it will deliver. Then it's also suited for polyester. So if I'm using polyester, like as my textile, it will also deliver as Tabigard was doing. So it's an excellent water repellency. So it's a good one. So there are really benefits here. One is anionic, one is cationic. Now, being cationic, and so there are many ways that can be used to get it. Remember, if it is charged, we can easily like get it out of the water. But one of another thing is like the oil repellency, one is better and one is another. Like the other isn't that better. So, but the overall assessment of this, it was really economically viable, eco-friendly, and it really delivered the results that are needed. So, in that someone really appreciate and then use it. So we are saying that in whatever we are doing, we can have a challenge out there. Maybe you know of an industry that is working on something, and you may know of the knowledge you have been testing, and you have seen that there's really a percent organic pollutant of those listed. You have the 12, and then you have the new. There are those which are the 9 pops. And also many are rising up. So we are saying that it's a collective effort in that we can try to substitute for all these, and we get better better products that are out there that are eco-friendly, and they really hope to conserve the environment, keep it in that it can really deliver, and the same of you can use those resources for some more time to come. So thank you for listening, and as we said, the questions will be addressed. Keep dropping them in our comment section. Thank you. I would welcome I'll give the microphone to our MC, Mr. Saleh. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think let us now welcome the next speaker, Mr. Tridom Juni. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Saleh. I hope I'm audible enough. Yeah, I think from the start we promised that we're going to make this session interactive, and maybe perhaps before I proceed, if there is any burning question from the previous presentation, please, you can raise up your arm, unmute, and then pose your question forward. Thank you. I think I'll give you 5 minutes to bring up any burning question before I proceed. Yeah, thank you. Gilbert, you had a question. Could you please raise it forward? You can unmute and then ask your question, please. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, so as you think about your questions, I think in the interest of time, I will proceed. For the questions that came in form of messages, they will be addressed at the end of the sessions. Yeah, thank you very much. And takes me back to the point of talking about the hackathon program. Yeah, but before I dive deep into the hackathon and accelerator program, I would like also to supplement on what on the presentation of Samuel. We saw a case study from Southern Range Nyanza, and I want us to look maybe more about green chemistry examples, such that when I talk about the hackathon and the accelerator program, we know which ideas will be welcomed during the hackathon and the green chemistry accelerator program. Let me share my screen and I give a few examples about green chemistry in the real world. And then when we call for abstract in the hackathon program, maybe you can relate what green chemistry is and maybe how you could make your idea more aligned with the green chemistry principles. I hope everyone is able to see the screen I've shared and allow me to put it in the presentation mode. Yeah, so we have seen a case in Uganda, and what happened at that textile factory, the innovation came from a foreign country. And now what we intend to achieve at the end of this program, we want to see similar innovations being created by Ugandans or by Ugandan entrepreneurs and innovators. Simon, kindly unmute. Simon, mute. Okay, thank you very much. I will begin with one company that is called NatureWorks and what it did. Yeah, NatureWorks looked at the problem of plastics, and most plastics are not biodegradable. And using chemistry, it thought of ways it could come up with plastics that are biodegradable. And why did it come up with plastics that are biodegradable? We all know the challenges that are associated with use of plastics that are fossil-based and non-biodegradable. So we all know challenges associated with use of plastics. And then it had to think of how it could use green chemistry, provide us with alternatives that are safe and are less hazardous. So what it did, it looked at nature, sourcing materials that are renewable, and then looking at the chemistry behind it on how it could synthesize plastics that could be not only biodegradable, but also that can decompose. And on the screen, that's the chemistry behind it. It's getting from nature. It's looking into different chemistry pathways, fermenting, and then getting the monomers into a large polymer. So eventually coming up with a plastic that can be compostable. So that is the chemical pathway: starch to lactic acid, to lactide, and then to polylactic acid as an alternative plastic that could biodegrade. So as we look through our innovations, can we learn from this company, maybe come up with similar innovations using local feedstocks, produce something that is maybe also that can decompose? Because when we look at most plastics we have, they can biodegrade, but something that can biodegrade doesn't mean that it has no challenges, because whenever they biodegrade, they leave microplastics and nanoplastics, which are a challenge to the world. And in addition to that, they take forever, like they stay in environment for a long period of time. So that is a challenge, but the company used chemistry to come up with something that you can compost to water and carbon dioxide. So that's one of the innovations through green chemistry to solve real world problems. So as we move towards the hackathon and the accelerator programs, we are looking for innovators in green chemistry who can do similar work. It doesn't have to be exact. We are looking for those who can do similar work. So if you're a chemist, if you're an engineer, and you think you could design something similar to this, we are happy to receive you on our accelerator program. And if you have an idea that you have not realized or you have not developed a product, we are happy to receive you under the hackathon programs so that we see how you could turn your idea into a product or how you could realize your idea. And if you have gone to a product level, then we want to see you accelerate, go to the market, expand your market, and grow your company into commercial scale. So this one takes me to another example. The company is called ProViv, and the company is in agriculture. So green chemistry doesn't stop at making products, but it can also go into agriculture, since we use a lot of agrochemicals. And we are all aware that Uganda is an agro-based company, which presents a very big opportunity for us to leap from green chemistry. So let's see what this company did. What this company did is that it studied nature. Such that they can produce similar pheromones so that they can disrupt the mating mechanisms of these insects. And you know, when you look at lifespan, the life cycle of these insects is usually 4 to 3 to 5 days. They hatch, they become adults, and then they start destroying crops. So when you interrupt with their mating mechanism, that means you are fighting their population to go down. And maybe you could come up with an organic fertilizer. You could come up with fungicides, but maybe that are similar to such a case study. But what's important is that the product you come up with has to be less hazardous. It has to be less toxic. It has to be affordable, and there should be market for that product. So that's what that company did, disrupting mating, learning from nature, and then going to the lab to manufacture it. So on the screen are different chemical structures for pheromones produced by different insects. You look at the cockroaches, it's more of like from the monomer of the benzene ring. If you look at understand their nature, and they go to manufacture them in the lab. And these are less toxic, they can decompose, and they can give us the function. They can give us the function in a way that is less hazardous. So I think learning from that, we can imagine better, greener, and less toxic insecticides. So if in your circle you know of a person working on a similar product, or has an idea about a similar product, please share our contacts with him so that we see how we could scale such innovations in green chemistry. In the introduction, I think they emphasized more on POPs, persistent organic pollutants. But if there is any innovation that gives us safe products, less toxic products through chemistry, they are all welcome to participate in the hackathon and the Accelerator Program. This takes me to the T2 Science. I don't mean primary 2. This is the name of the company that also try to understand how nature works to improve the cosmetics industry. So if you know of any Ugandan who is into cosmetic industry and he's trying to do cosmetics in a better way using chemistry, please refer him or her to us. So generally, most of the cosmetics and soaps and detergents, they usually use silicone. They are based on silicone. So what this company did, because we know silicone once it's within bonds with organic compounds, it becomes difficult to degrade those structures because of the strong bonds between the carbons and the silicone and the oxygen. It becomes very difficult to degrade such compounds. And if they can't be degraded, they become a problem to our water. They can bioaccumulate in the soils. They can affect our skin. So it looked at that and it thought of innovative way how to replace a silicone with nature-based compounds. What did it do? It looked at terpenes terpenes naturally produced by most of the plants in the forest. I think if you've been to the forest, you are able to listen or to smell that scent. Those are the terpenes. They are less volatile at lower temperatures. They can evaporate into air, and then you can smell them. So if you have been to forest, that smell, that good fragrance you get is that terpene. So the company tried to understand terpene, and from terpene it was able to make some cosmetic products that are superior to traditional products made using silicone. And we know once you use nature-based products, they are less harmful to environment and they have less impact to water since they easily decompose back to carbon dioxide and water. So that's what it did. And I think if you look at these examples, you can appreciate, because there's a common phrase going on TikTok, that why did we study the life cycle of a butterfly? So the importance of studying nature is to understand how it works and maybe learn from it and come up with innovative solutions. So most of the green chemistry examples, you see that they are all informed by nature. But it doesn't mean that green chemistry stops at looking at nature-based products. But from previous presentations in the previous training, we saw that there are several principles of green chemistry. So as long as your innovation aligns with those 12 principles, it doesn't necessarily have to be nature-based. I've just used this example. So I think with those examples, we can come up with cosmetics products that are not lead-based, that are free of mercury, that don't have silicone in them, which are more safe. So those are some few examples of how startups have used green chemistry to address global problems related to hazardous, toxicity, and pollution. So if you know any person or any company that is working on something similar to that, that's what we are looking for under the hackathon and the Accelerator Program. So I'll talk more about the hackathon when we are aware of some of the innovations that we would love to entertain at this hackathon. So during the hackathon, you don't necessarily need to have a product. If we have some theoretical knowledge about a product or chemistry that could solve a real-world problem, what we need you to do is to write it down in form of an abstract. Write a summary of what the problem is and how you intend to address that problem. So if you can do that for us, or you know any person who can do that, we are happy to welcome them participate in the hackathon challenge. So the special days for the hackathon challenge are starting 15th October 2024. We shall be welcoming students, researchers in chemistry with ideas to come up with safer and less hazardous can go from where it is to another level. So receiving of the abstract will be on 15th October, kind of take note. And then in November, people would have submitted in their abstracts, they will receive notification whether they qualify to move to the second phase. Then on 22nd November, we shall hold a virtual meeting for successful applicants to give them further guidelines on what they need to improve on their abstract. Then on the 11th December, we shall have the Hackathon Day, where we shall award the best ideas. So in addition to awarding the best ideas, people who have participated in submitting the abstract and will be selected, they will be introduced to the best mentors in the world. They will get rewards, and they'll also be introduced to the investors, because this is a green chemistry innovation and networking program. So we shall broaden your network by bringing you to investors and mentors who can help you go from an idea they will also present the challenges they have, and those will be under special categories. So once there is anyone with an idea to solve that problem and the companies feel convinced, there will also be rewards for such ideas. So we encourage you to follow us on our social media handles so that you are updated with what is coming up, especially in the category of special categories, which will be funded by the corporate organizations in Uganda. So that is about Hackathon. And I want to remind you the key point here, the Hackathon, that you just need to have an idea. You just need to have an idea that could